Hey guys, check out Miles' Halloween costume. Can you guess what she is? Let me look on this side. Look on this side. Okay, now look on this side. Can you tell what she is? She's dressed up as a cattle dog. Hey Mayo, you dressed up? You got your Halloween costume on? That's right. He's like, I'm out of here. And like I mentioned in the lead up to this, you've got to be able to read your pet. Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Tanera Kroom, your holistic veterinarian. And let's get excited because tonight we're going to talk about something that's right on the forefront of what's happening in our society today, and that is seasonal changes and holiday changes all wrapped into one. We humans might be very excited about it, but oftentimes our pets are super anxious about it. That's what we're going to talk about tonight: seasonal anxiety in dogs and cats. Now, if you hear that sound over there, that's a little bit of gnawing. Mayo is gnawing on one of her toys. And, dogs can do that out of a sense of anxiety and nervousness. And, wow, it's a frisbee. It's a green frisbee. so, so you know what? We're going to dive into a topic that, like I said, is really relevant right now. We've got Halloween right around the corner, other seasonal changes that affect your pet that you may not even know about. So whether you're a future veterinarian or a pet parent that really wants to get into the holistic lifestyle for their pet, you're going to walk away tonight with some actionable items that you can do right at home. That's one of the things I love at my vet clinic and through my teachings and mentorship. I love to give pet parents things they can do right at home, solutions that are right over the counter and that can be done right in their very own kitchen. Okay, so let's get into it. We already saw the dog. She's my mascot. So let's go ahead and talk about her and her compadres to start. Okay, so for dogs specifically, they've got some noise and visual triggers. Noise and visual. Okay, so we already know that Halloween specifically coming up in about a week or so. Well, yeah, in about a week or so. And that means a lot of noise. Doorbells, knocking, trick or treaters, costumes, fireworks sometimes. And for dogs, this can be terrifying. Terrifying. Okay? Their hearing is so much more acute than ours. Okay? They're so much more sensitive to sound. So you want to make sure that, so just imagine their perspective when you're going through with all that chaos. So, I love it when you put some information in the chat for me. I got a question for you here. For those of you watching, have you noticed any changes in your dog's behavior when there's a lot of commotion outside or new things inside the house, like decorations? We've got some things hanging. Recently, we've had some people in the neighborhood putting in, the fiber cable wires and all that stuff. And so there's been a lot of action outside. Have you noticed anything with your dogs specifically? If so, put them in the chat. I'd love to see that so that we can talk about them. I'll put it right up here on the screen once you do make a comment. Again, any changes that you may have noticed in your dog due to commotion outside or inside the house, changes, things like decorations in the house. Would love to hear from you. Okay, so I'm going to give you some actionable tips, like I said. So number one actionable tip for your dog that's a little nervous or scary, like Mayo. She doesn't want to wear a costume. She told me no costume. So that's one thing you can do is listen to your pet, read them, and get to read their behavior so you can see if they're really enjoying it or if it's just really all for your enjoyment. Okay, one of the simplest things you can do though for a dog is to create a calm, quiet space for them, whether it's a kennel area, a little crate. Right, a lot of puppies are taught to be crated up when they're young. You can close off a room so that they can feel safe, right? Add some of their favorite little blankets and toys, and you can even put some soothing music in to drown out any external noises, okay? It sounds really simple, but it can be very, very effective because it actually mimics their natural denning instinct. Denning, Denning, like creating dens. That's one thing that is really big in holistic medicine is environmental enrichment. And a part of that means creating an environment like they would have in nature, like they would have in the wilds. Okay. So normally dogs would create a den of safety for themselves and their families. And that's what you can create as well in your home, whether it be with a crate or special area. Um, what's going on, Mayo? What's happening? Come here. Come here. Come up here. All right. So she's walking around the house right now, kind of looking around. I'm like, is somebody outside or is there something going on? Or are you just taking this opportunity while I'm a little distracted and going live to go find some treats? Huh? You going to find some treats somewhere? Look, she tried to get me. She tried to get me right there. Okay. All right. Good girl. No costume for you, huh? No costume for you? Okay. We'll feed you when we're done. All right. All right, baby girl. It's my baby girl. All right. So again, create a den for them. Okay. Um, Another cause that can be a big shift for dogs, specifically for canines, is as we move into fall, sudden temperature changes. Sudden temperature changes. I know you're like, what? We're like, what? Like, okay, it changes. And so they may shed or they may grow some extra fur. Like, what's the big deal? But actually, as the cooler weather happens, especially in our senior dogs, I'm a senior pet expert, especially in our senior dogs, it can create anxiety when the cooler weather comes. Just like with humans, we feel like, oh, here comes the cold, my joints are aching, like, oh, I'm just, and it's the expectation of pain and discomfort that our senior dogs experience as well. Okay. Joint pain, arthritis, and just overall discomfort. So the changing of the seasons, the changing of the actual weather, especially in senior pets, can create anxiety just from the fact of like, oh, they're just kind of dreading that pain that they know could be coming. Okay. Has anybody out there put into the chat if you have noticed your dog getting more anxious or even more stiff, right, as the weather cools down? It's more common than you might think. So don't feel alone if you have. Let me see who we've got in the chat. I think I might know. Hey, Robert Crazy Air Holmes, how you doing tonight, sir? Great to see you. I know you've got a senior dog over there, Hazy Daisy, and he definitely has had some hip and joint issues in the past. And as it gets cooler, again, they can experience anxiety. So great to see you tonight, Robert. So what you can do at home with this actionable tip that you can do right at home is really simple. A little extra warmth really goes a long way. So you could do a little heated blanket, maybe, right? You may not want to go that far. Maybe you could just do a little sweater, right? A little cozy dog sweater for, your walks when you're taking them out on walks. That can reduce the anxiety right there by giving them that kind of, surrounding warmth, and then they won't have to necessarily be so anxious and anticipating pain from the joint pain and things like that. Okay. Also, gentle massage can work wonders too. All right. So massaging those joints, getting that blood flow back into those areas of stiffness can work wonders. All right. So that was our furry canine friends. Now let's switch on over to our little feline friends, okay? Because we really focus on dogs, cats, and horses, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. A lot of seasonal anxiety and some differences between dogs and cats, as well as the equine. So let's talk about the cats right now, okay? First cause of anxiety, changes in routine. Now, for you cat owners, you know exactly what I'm talking about right now, right? Our feline friends can they're really creatures of habit. They like for things to be a certain way. You get up, you put the food in the bowl, you go sit down, they sit in the window, like every day. They can do the same thing. So if you even do a slight change with them, they can get out of sorts. Okay. Guests starting to come over more often, right? Around the holiday, moving furniture around, like, wait a minute, this is my spot. Why is the sofa over here now? Right? Or even changing the type of food that you give them can be really anxiety inducing for cats. Okay. Anybody out there have a cat who seems to disappear whenever the routine changes? Maybe they hide under the bed or in the closet. Let me know in the comments, because this is actually a common stress response. Okay. So changing routines. What can you do? What's a tip that I'm going to give you for those crazy cats that might be hiding under the bed to help your cat feel more secure? First of all, try to stick to the routine. Okay. Now you decided to get a cat, it's a cat household now. So try to stick to the routine and keep it as consistent as possible, especially during these months of change, the seasonal changing and things like that. Stick to a regular feeding time, right? Play sessions, try to have them right around the same time, and avoid making too many changes in their environment all at once. Like, don't do it all at once, okay? So if you do need to move furniture, maybe move one piece, and then you maybe few days later try moving another piece, but just do the new setup slowly for them, okay? You can also use those little pheromone dispensers that you can plug into the wall that kind of do a little pheromone. I mean, I'm not sure how well those things work. I don't have a cat household right now, and some of my clients have said they work. Some have said they don't do anything. So, but you could always try it if you have a super anxious cat, okay? Let's see. Another thing for cats that you may not have thought of is the shorter days and the less sunlight. Cats, just like humans, can experience a sort of version of seasonal, what is it called? Affective disorder. Seasonal affective disorder. That's where, you feel like depressed, like less sun, and you're like, why am I feeling down? And they sell those like lights in the store where you can add the extra light. What do they call that? A full spectrum light. Okay. So that's one of the things that you can do that's actionable. Sure, it might not be over the counter or just like in your kitchen already, but you might experience a boost too. So if you have a cat, put in the chat. I'd love to know if any of you cat owners out there see your cat becoming maybe a little more lethargic as the sun starts to fade a little bit. Okay. Less sunlight can make them feel less energetic and more anxious. Okay. So during the fall and winter months, this can be normal. So you want to make sure that they have access to sunny windows, right? And during the day, or even like I said, that full spectrum light, they have those out there. You can stick it on the wall or stick it down where they are and let them feel all the juju that natural light can really bring. It really can do wonders for their mental health and maybe yours as well. Okay. All right, so we've talked about the dogs and their stress, right? They have the noise and the visuals. They also have the sudden temperature changes can cause anxiety for the dogs. And then here we just talked about the cats. They don't really like when their routine changes, and they also can feel anxiety when there is less sunlight. So now let's talk about their big brothers, the horses, the equine, the big guys out in the pasture. Okay. One of the first things that is a really big anxiety inducer for horses is storms. Storms. Yeah, they're incredibly intuitive horses. And so changes in weather, like increased storms during the fall, like this time of the year, can really spook them. Okay. So that shift in barometric pressure also, they can feel that. Like I said, they're super sensitive. So they can feel that barometric pressure changing, and that can trigger anxiety and restlessness in our equine buddies. Okay. especially those who are already sensitive. So if any horse owners are out there watching right now, even if you're watching on the hashtag replay, put in the chat if you have a horse that maybe starts pacing, right? Or acting out when the storm starts, they're like, hey, Bunny, and you coming up, and Bunny's normally just the sweetest horse, and now Bunny's like, trying to nip at you or something. They may be acting out due to triggers from storms and things like that. So one of the things that we can do for the horses is we can storm proof their environment. How do we do that? The storm is coming. There's nothing we can do about it. So how can we storm proof for our equine buddies? You can obviously keep them in the stable or barn, right? Put some soft bedding in there, okay? And you can, just like with the dogs, just like with the cats, you can have some soothing sounds. Some nice soothing sounds in there to kind of keep them distracted, right? Put some of their favorite treats in there. They may not want to do that every day. We don't want them getting obese, just like any of the other animals, but just a few extra minutes of grooming can be very, very helpful for our equine buddies. Okay, it can provide comfort. All right. So again, you're going to storm proof your horse's environment, soft bedding, soothing sounds, extra grooming, and kind of putting them away for a while. All right. So another cause of anxiety in our horse buddies, this is one, especially if you're not a horse owner, you may not think of, but if you are, then you probably already know: changes in the pasture. Changes in the pasture can really do a number on horses, because as the pasture changes with the seasons, right? The grass is minimized now, especially here in the Midwest and up north, maybe a little bit different out west and down south, where maybe the grass continues, to grow throughout the year. But up here, like it can do a number when the grass is just like gone, right? Fresh grass, normally you can get this nutrition from that. And so now that's gone away. The grazing time, which is normally a soothing thing for them, again, that environmental enrichment, right? Things they would have normally in the wild, that grazing is so soothing for them. So if they're not out in the pasture as much, either due to storms or whether, you're rotating the pastures, because the grass is leaving, that can definitely cause anxiety. Okay. So it's going to be like a new feeding routine for them. So like their cat buddies, they don't necessarily like changes in the routine. So having to now, instead of having the grazing time and the pastures and the fresh grass, maybe it's more grains and maybe it's more time inside. Those are things that can cause anxiety as well. Anybody out there that's a horse owner notice their horse getting a little bit more antsy as the grass starts to disappear? How do you adjust their feed during the colder months? That's a question I have for you, horse owners. Put that in the chat if you would. And I've got another tip for you for this. Okay. So have plenty of high quality hay at the ready, okay? Ready for them to munch on throughout the day. Okay, so you can kind of give it in little spurts, kind of like a grazing time for them. And you can also add extra enrichment. Like you could put some hanging toys in the barn, in the stall, right? Hanging toys are really like, they'll be like playing with it, or something like a challenge for them. That's going to like stimulate their nose and their brains, obviously. But putting toys into the stall with them could be really great. You can also put something like a hay net, right? Use the nets, and then the hay is inside, and then they have to kind of work for it, right? They have to work to get the hay and things like that. So yeah, that can really reduce the stress as well. So again, we know that changing the pasture can cause anxiety in horses. The storms can also cause serious anxiety, and some things we can do are, putting the hay in the barn at different times to kind of simulate grazing, soft bedding, soft music during the storm times, and groom them extra. Almost, I feel like I love all those things. Like, come on, am I an anxious horse? Hey, good evening, Kayla. How you doing? She said, "Good evening." Hey, Kayla, that's my certified vet assistant, Kayla. She's amazing. Great to see you on here tonight, Kayla. I know you're not a horse owner, but you got the dogs and you got the cats. So everything I said before, probably really, you know, you've seen up close and personal. You have a cat dog household, whereas I only have a dog household. But so one final solution that I have, like I said, my goal is to give you actionable uh, ideas and solutions that you can do right at home, that you can say, as soon as you see this video, like, I'm going to go in here and do this right now. I don't have to go buy anything. I don't have to go to the store or any of that stuff. And I love that. Okay. But, you can't be a holistic veterinarian and not have an herbal solution, right? This herbal solution that I have is freaking fantastic. Okay. This herb flies off the shelves. It's the number one herb. Body sore is also very, very popular. But this one right here, mm-mm, mm-mm. This is the one, you guys. Okay. You see there's horses right on it, but it's also for dogs and cats. Usually my horse owners will get the full container so that they can sprinkle it right on the feed, right? And then my dog and cat owners will get it. Sometimes they will get the full container too, because they may have a larger breed, but my cat owners will usually get it like in this smaller container like this, okay? And you can find all of those right at drkroom.com. But the Shen Calmer is made up of like 16 different herbs that all focus on like lowering the blood pressure, cooling the heated areas of the body, reducing lymph pressure, just all the things, all the different things that would add to anxiety. It's not just like one thing, like, oh, we reduced anxiety. It's the actual physical aspects of the body that the Shen Calmer really focuses on. So if you've got an anxious dog, cat, or horse around the holidays or any time, Shen Calmer is the way to go. It's something good to try. A lot of times my, especially dog owners, will have their dogs on, like, say, trazodone. If you're familiar with that, it's a pharmaceutical that is often recommended for serious stress and anxiety in pets. And it can be useful in some situations, maybe traveling or international travel or different things like that. But I've found that a lot of my clients who have maybe come from another vet who has uh, recommended that or prescribed that it either makes their dog totally like this, like, just not even here. I'm just over here on the couch, like, I'm not even, like, totally changes their personality and behavior. Or sometimes it goes the opposite, where it's like, like, now they're like extra hyper, right? And so a lot of times they'll come to me and see what they can do about reducing that trazodone and adding this Shen Calmer in. Okay. And if you need a solution and you're looking for a holistic one, go right to drkroom.com. I actually have a discount code for you as well. I always love to do a little discount for those who haven't used the herbs before. You're like, trying something new, spending money. And so I totally understand that. Let me see, where is my discount code? The discount code is herb15. Herb15. When you go to drkroom.com, I'm sorry, I was looking for the little code here, but I don't see it. So but we know that Shen Calmer is great for dogs, cats, and horses. And if you use the code HERB15, you'll get 15% off when you go ahead and purchase that. Okay. So in conclusion, we've covered some of the top causes of seasonal anxiety in dogs, cats, and horses. Oh, what did I see over here? Hey there, Marissa. So Marissa Rocket, the future Dr. Rocket, right, is one of my interns. Now, you may have heard about my telemedicine virtual internship. I'm super excited about how it's growing and expanding. I have about 7 or 8 interns now from various states in the country, and they join me on my virtual visits. They are a part of my free community that you can join as well, where they have full access to me. They can get in there and they can ask me anything, whether it's about my time as an Army veterinarian, whether it's my time as an entrepreneur, whether it's my time working for the Department of Agriculture as a public health veterinarian, whether it's my time working for the Humane Society as a veterinarian. They have full access to me. And Marissa, thank you for joining tonight. I love that you're here and able to show up for yourself and for your career as a future veterinarian. Um, so let me see. I think I have a link here where if you know someone who is uh, in college and striving toward that veterinary career, who maybe is in an animal science undergrad, or maybe they are a biology pre-med like I was at Xavier University, then they can go ahead and join. They can apply for the internship. Okay, so it's not just that you could join. There is an application process. I have to see where you're at, what you're doing, and if you can come in here and add something to our community. Okay, so the internship, the link is right there if you want to grab it. But even if you aren't able to grab it right now, if you're on this page, if you're on the Dr. Kroom Army Vet page, then you should see further down in my feed, right, from previous days where we talk specifically about that, and you can grab the link there. Okay. Also, we have the community that I was talking about, which is free for everyone currently. It's currently free. So you might want to get in right now so that you can get in for a lifetime of free. It may have a cost here in the next few months. So it's a community where, again, the future veterinarians have access to me, and also pet parents that are holistically minded will have access to me and my holistic team. So there's the link for that. It's at school.com, and there's the rest of the link. Love for you to come join us and get into our community so we can talk it up and chop it up about holistic solutions for your pet. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm Dr. Kroom, your holistic veterinarian, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. every Thursday, where we discuss holistic solutions for you and your pet. Take care.